The first bike I ever received was not necessarily my bike. It was my mom's. This is kind of embarrassing, but I was so into mountain biking that I wanted something beyond just my my dad's touring bike that had these slick tires and were designed to be, you know, you'd ride this thing from home to work. I was just like, oh, I want a mountain bike, I want a mountain bike. And my mom had this little green Novara bike that was fully rigid and had these big bulky tires so it could, you know, grip the ground pretty well. And if you're wondering what fully rigid is, that is a bike that has no shocks on it whatsoever. Like a BMX bike, for example. It's just a solid metal frame. No springs, no nothing to soak up the bumps. And today that's considered unheard of, to go mountain biking with no shocks. But then I was just desperate. I was like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. Thank you, Mom. The brakes didn't work very well, which is kind of scary when you're going downhill so fast that your eyes are watering and you're gripping the brakes as hard as you can, so hard that your forearms are just like seizing up. It's crazy. Steven and I, my buddy Steven, we went up to Crystal Mountain during the summer when there was no snow up there, and we went all the way to the top and then we bombed down. It was so awesome. Oh, this single track stuff was, oh, I just saw someone run a red light. Oh, little Hispanic woman. She thought no one was watching her. That's okay. I won't judge her. It was a safe turn, to be fair. There was no one around her. But anyway, still, it was a red light. Anyway, yeah, so mountain biking down Crystal Mountain on a fully rigid bike. Oh, my grip hurt so bad. Because when there are no shocks, you feel every single little bump in the road. And we did some single track, and we also did some stuff where we just bombed down. I remember getting air off of this one little hump, and it hurt so bad when I landed. Wow. It was, you know those post hole diggers that, no, not diggers, slammers? Okay, if you've never worked on a farm or something like that before, it's a big metal tube with grips on the side. And you put a metal stake in the tube and you slam this thing down on the metal stake, and it makes a tremendous noise, and eventually it slams the metal stake down into the ground. It's not a very comfortable sensation because it's metal on metal, and you're just a moment, merging, there we go. And your grip is trying to hold on to these handles on the side. It's just this dink, 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 dink. It hurts. Eventually, your ears are ringing. Call me a wuss, but hey, if you do this for hours upon hours a day, it's probably another reason why my hearing is probably going to be gone. But anyway, that's what it felt like, this jarring metal on metal sensation. Oh, it hurt. So Crystal Mountain, that was really cool. Steven's mom picked us up, sort of up there, and did so much mountain biking up by Mount Rainier, through Skookum Flats and everything. And I also was so desperate for mountain biking that it was not uncommon for us to ride our bikes 10 miles on the open road to get somewhere, just so that we could ride the trail. And then once we were done riding the trail for 3 hours, we'd ride our bikes back. That was the greatest part about being homeschooled. You just got all your homework done, you're done with your studies, slam through it, and you call them up and you're like, Steven, are you done with your homework? Yes, I am. Let's go mountain biking. And we did. One of the places we went was Mount Peak in Enumclaw, Washington. If you've never been on Mount Peak, it's a very, very steep mountain. We're talking like this at points. Very steep. And of course, we, being our insane little selves, were like, let's take our bikes down this thing. So steep that it was impossible to actually ride your bike up this thing. You had to push it all the way up. That wasn't very smart, because, well, as I mentioned before, the crash that happened on that. But at this point, we actually went down the backside, which is slightly less steep, but bigger rocks, because it's a road, it's a logging road. And oh man, same idea. Your grip is just shot by the end, and you just cannot grip the brakes anymore. That's a horrible sensation when you want to grip the brakes, but you can't because your grip will not react. So thank you, God, for shocks now, and that's so nice that I don't have to deal with my mom's fully rigid bike. Wow, that hurt. It's really nice of her. I totally trashed the bike. I really did. I felt kind of bad about that. But she didn't need it anymore. I love my mommy.